Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another interview. And if you see my new glasses, I am now working for an IT company, apparently. But we're here with Jonen, who we've interviewed before many years ago, right? Yep. Or was it a year or two ago?
About 2
years ago. Yeah, it's one thing that's weird about Japan is you do lose a sense of time. Like things kind of move, and it's very slow, but it's very fast at the same time. So I even in the beginning of the Jinashi series, it's been almost 5 years now. And it feels like last year or 2 years ago that I did that.
Well, I think if they look at our last interview that we did together, they're going to see the changes in us. Like my poor Kess has been through quite the 18,000 kilometers of insanity, and
so we have a lot. So we have a lot to talk today. So one of the main factors that we're going to talk about is your new book. That's a big one, right?
Yeah, I guess
you
so.
Also have a course on my website now, and you have you're going to take a look at the our Jinashi Resin model.
That's right.
For those who have not seen you before, they don't know who you are. Can you give us a short little introduction of who you are?
I've been living in Japan for 25 years. My name is Jonen. I'm an ordained Jodoshu priest. I beg for my food.
That's right. You beg for your food.
I walk the streets. Every day and with my bowl and right now it's the rainy season, so it's been really exciting.
Walk home with coins and water.
Water, that's right. It's every season has its different challenges and good points and bad points.
Yeah.
And I would say the rainy season is primarily bad points.
That's a hard one.
It's miserable. I have a poncho that I wear, but it's basically like wearing a black garbage bag, so I'm going to get wet either from sweat or rain, so I'm kind of just torn.
Yeah, it's just the hard part about it, because you wear, because I've gone hiking in this time, and I'll wear a poncho, and then you go, that was a mistake.
Yep.
Because it gets so hot, and you're like, I'm just as wet as if I would get rained on, so I'm just going to get rained on.
Yeah, yesterday it reminded me of trying to make weight during high school wrestling. We used to wear those sweatsuits. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you should drink distilled water next time you go.
So that's primarily what I'm doing now is just training shugyo, and
so you're living the actual mendicant life, and that's really about what your book is about. So can you show us the book?
Oh, yeah.
Because you've been here for 25 years. You've been doing things up and down. You've gone from one place. You've done working as an English teacher. You've done the Shakuhachi stuff. You've done things as Komuso. Now you're a full-time priest. Everything's in this book, and it has a lot of interesting stories. And it's not really what people would expect of the book. And so can you give us a little bit of first, what's the name of the book?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The name of the book is Komasoul, Outlaw, and I didn't give myself this title. My ex-teacher did. In a fit of rage, he said, "You're a Komasoul outlaw," and I was like, "I like that. I like that a lot." But this isn't primarily a book on Shakuhachi. I think that's probably only about 10%, and a lot of it is just personal stories and anecdotes. And there's a commencement speech at I think Stanford University by Steve Jobs, and he talked about there's certain points in your life when you look back and connect the dots, you can see the full picture. So I was kind of aware of that as I was writing. I was thinking, where were my dots to form this entire picture of where I'm at now? And so I wanted to put some of those pivotal experiences in there, and it ended up being quite personal. And originally the idea of this book was to help a family member who was needing some help covering some groceries in the States. Well, I've been working on it for a while. Might as well kind of push it out. And I just didn't realize how popular it was going to be right away. We got to number 2 with the new autobiography releases under Asian and American biographies. And so there was a group of people, I don't know, they don't know me, and they just saw the book and found it through a different way. And this book is not in condition for mass consumption. So we have recently hired another editor, and we're going to clean it up. But this, as it stands now, is the quintessential Jonen book. I mean, it's wonky, it's messy, and
I'm so glad I opened up to this, because one of my favorite stories. For a week, I had been eating some sweets from a small shop next to my
stop
bubble.
it!
story. So for those who buy the book, go to page 120 and have fun. So
yeah, my mother read this book, and I hadn't read it. My previous editor, she's like, I'm gonna publish it. I go, let me see the final draft and the final manuscript. No, you'll criticize it. Okay. And then as I got it and I'm reading through it, I'm like, I can't believe I put that in there. There's so much in here that I'm.
It's a lot of these stories I know because we've talked about them through the hike. So I can flip open the story. I know exactly what you're at. And it's really not what you think of a book, because it's people probably think of this and it's like tough times and it's just all work and getting hit with the stick and whatever, and it's not that at all. Like there's parts of that are in there, but there is so much humor and so much of just like the culture shock stuff, making the mistakes, and there is just some fantastic Japanese error mistakes in there that we've all made them, but you put them all in and categorize them out in your sort of like your time in Japan, and so it's such an enjoyable read.
Well, thank you. There was some thinking behind this for those kids growing up like I did, like in the Midwest, kind of isolated from this kind of stuff and just dreaming of going overseas. And I really wanted to show that it is possible for, a lot of this, is coming out of a trailer park in western Nebraska, and, hearing the shakuhachi and thinking, telling my friends, I'm going to go overseas, I'm going to study the bamboo flute. And they're like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right, man. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do it. And kind of that would probably be the biggest thing that would make me happy if some young person out there would read the book and say, hey, I think I can do it if that idiot can do it. And it's true. It's just finding something that you can, really drill into and go after it. And it's possible, but you also see it can get really messy.
Is there any story in there that you'd like to share with us?
I'd probably, like, when my mother kind of talked to me about it, the one that really was the showstopper for her was my operation. When I was in Japan for 6 months, had a broken arm, and they started drilling into me, and it was local. So I got to experience, feeling the pressure of the scalpel, the scissors, smelling the bone as they're drilling into my elbow. And I think they had Elton John, Candle in the Wind playing. And it was the most psychedelic experience I ever had. And this was only 6 months into Japan. And that's kind of when I knew I was in for something over here. And it's those kind of things that you don't expect, And I think primarily a lot of that book and my experience here in Japan was just so many unexpected turns. It's just like reality's turned up to an 11 here as opposed to in my home country, because I can kind of see things coming easier. Here a lot of times I felt like I was just blindsided by things, and both positive and negative. Just out of nowhere, this guy's coming up to me and say, hey, you want my autograph? I'm like, why? Because I'm famous. I'm a rock star. And I'm like, really? and then making those kind of contacts, and people are saying, yeah, your new buddy, he's someone big. Okay, that's the things that I've experienced in Japan, where, like in the States, I was hanging out with, I was studying sociology, so I was doing a lot of research on subcultures of like homeless people, truck drivers, and just kind of blue collar, lower class people that I felt comfortable with, but I was writing about them. But then when I came over to Japan, I'm hanging out with doctors, lawyers, physicists, and it was just such a strange
double culture shock.
It was such a strange shift, So anyway,
so the book again is Komuso Outlaw. You can pick it up on Amazon. The link is in the description below.
Oh, thank you.
And so now after that, you also have been featured on my website in your new Suizen course.
Yep.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I think the biggest thing about the Suizen course is I haven't talked about that stuff before. And so it's just like the book, maybe I overshared too much and it's a little personal. The same thing with the Suizen course. It was kind of like the practice and tools that I use to progress in that art of Suizen. And so I thought by the time I was 50, I felt comfortable talking about Buddhism and Shakuhachi in Japan. I've put in, I think, enough time that I have something to say about it.
Sure.
And with Suizen, I don't think many people have put in as much time as I have on the streets with bamboo flutes and definitely begging.
Yeah, because it's not busking. It's completely different.
No, you're meditating. And the same thing with like what I do daily. I'm meditating in crowds of people. And if it's not crowds of people, it's along the sides of the highway. And it was the same when I was using the Shakuhachi. And it's that entering that mindset of samadhi, or that kind of glowing meditative state. And it's hard for people to grasp. And so like the course itself, people might think, well, what is this? I don't get it. Because it is a lot of just like teaching zazen. It's like, well, you sit here, you sit. Yeah, but, and it's the same with Suizen. You blow. But it takes a moment of, after years of practice, where this kind of snap or a pop happens, where everything falls into place and you get it. And so I'm just trying to give enough tools to lead you down that path to where you can have that self-realization of what Suizen actually is. And it's simple but extremely complicated to tell someone just trust that blowing into the flute this certain way over and over is going to have a major impact on your life.
Yeah. So. And there's a bunch of chapters, and I think there's like now over 20 lessons that are inside it. Of course, we have the packet that goes along with it, the downloaded part, and then of course we have the in-depth walkthrough through Choshi as well.
Most of the academic research was him. Like when I learned to play baseball, I was just given a bat and a ball and sent out in the backyard, and that's kind of how I approached Suizen. I didn't know if it was modern or ancient. I didn't know. I just knew that play Choshi, and so I just said, okay, I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go do it in the streets. I'm gonna meditate and put the basket on and go out and do it. And so the way I entered the Suizen practice was, I'd say, ignorant, but also unshackled. I was free to explore it in my own way. I didn't have the weight of history or different academic people telling me what it is and what it isn't.
Sure.
And so.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of, like, I can't remember if it was Socrates or Plato who said it, in order to, the first step of going for knowledge is admitting that you don't know something, right? The initial inquiry. So going in, knowing in a state of ignorance and going in is very liberating, because you only have just the world to learn. And what I remember, like, even just the first time we started walking together about 5 years ago, kind of answering some of the questions were still difficult for you. Like there were some things that it's kind of like this, but it's kind of like this, but it's not. And then you'd say, I'll just do it, right? And then we'd do it together, and had a lot of clarity. Then we could talk about it. And I've noticed that even though there are still concepts that are very difficult to grasp and definitely to explain, I think you did a really nice job of getting people onto the actual, the right path of, here's the road, but do know the road winds and turns, and there's a lot of other areas and scenic routes that you can take. And it's not just this, one pattern fits all sort of thing. And I think you really captured that nicely throughout the series, and gave people a fighting chance, even if they live in the middle of the city.
Well, I would recommend that people living in the middle of the city are actually lucky, because that's where I've done my best work meditating. And right now, Nara is one of the hot spots for tourism in Japan.
Absolutely. Huge hot spot.
so
it's busy.
I'm inundated with just swarms of people as I'm meditating. And the meditation that I do now and the meditation I did with Shakuhachi Suizen, it's one and the same. So I think I've been able to clarify my answers better just because I'm more experienced. I'm doing it daily, and just the past 4 years, it's been nonstop. So from that interview that we did a few years ago, I haven't stopped. I've continued. And it's one and the same. It feels like the same. Same.
And it's somewhere between 15 and 20 kilometers a day that you're walking, right? And so it's an all-day event that it really does.
I get breaks.
Yeah,
But
it's almost like showing up for your 9 to 5, but you're meditating and walking. In a sense, to make a really crude analogy.
No,
for
it is. No, it's not even, that's 100% true. Like when I leave and turn onto the street and hear my rattle, the shakujo click, it is just, okay, let's go. And the good thing is I can reach that meditative state and just kind of let it wash over me, and it's almost dreamlike most of the walk, but it still is a grind, especially coming home, because it is exciting to receive donations and connect with people, and the conversations I've had have been really wonderful. But then there's also the walk home in the heat through rice fields and weather, and it's like another 4 kilometers and just grinding it out. And my staff is dragging, I'm sweating, and the whole time I'll just kind of live in the dream. Live in the dream, live in the dream. And I mean, I'm surrounded by beautiful mountains and the way the clouds settle in, like Chinese ink paintings. I mean, it's gorgeous. And the crows think I'm part of their group because of the all black, and they're chatting with me. And right now we got the dragonflies out and frogs and all nature's coming alive, and I'm just dying. It's just, it's a serious grind, and then do it again the next day. Go back at it.
Yeah, so for those who are interested in that Suizen course and learn more about this stuff, they can also go into the description below.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so definitely check that out. It's it's a way that we can support you and stuff as well.
Thank
you. He gets more finances to continue doing this work. So the last thing is I wanted to show you the Tairyu Jinashi model. So this is our model flute that Nick Belando designed, and he likes to say, like we say Jinashi resin model, but he likes to use the word Edo style because of the internal bore chambers, like with the tuning with the fushi. It's also towari, but there are a couple modern things about it. The hole sizes are slightly larger, and the utaguchi is just a little bit deeper. So I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, well, I guess the best way would be to play it right now. Feels pretty light.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do marathon playing like I did, you want a lighter flute, definitely lighter flute. So I'm gonna play just a little bit of Takeuchi.
Okay.
This is a song that I used to beg with quite a bit. We'll try. I would say that this wouldn't be a flute you would buy as like, I'm going to take it hiking. This is just my backpack flute. I think it would be doing it a great disservice. I would say if you get a flute like this, you should give it time and respect what's gone into it. And I wouldn't have it as just a backpacker or something like that. This is something that you could really spend time with and appreciate. And going back to that kid in Nebraska, this would be something that I would have loved to have had, because it's something I could have just carried with me on campus and then had it out in my room just to appreciate the way it looked. And I wouldn't, like people buy some of the other plastic flutes just for the reason of having a carefree flute. I think that would be a bad idea for this one. I think this deserves a little more respect. I love how it plays. It feels a lot like my flutes that I play, and they are kind of replicas of Edo period flutes and kind of late 1890s, early turn of the century flutes. So yeah, this is something I think that should be, I guess, respected. And it's not just a, like I said, just something you throw around and play it at the beach. That said, you could do that. And especially I spent a lot of my time in Arizona and the desert Southwest. This would be something perfect to go up. I used to love playing Shakuhachi in Sedona, Arizona. But, there's streams and stuff there, and, real dry weather, it wouldn't be good for bamboo. But anyway, I guess that would be my take on this. Very well crafted, very well balanced, and can do a lot of power, and I can play soft. That's one of the big things that I look for, is being able to play very soft, and that can handle it. So, approved.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I love it.
So, I guess just as a quick recap, so we have your book, Komuso Outlaw.
Yeah.
Can you hold that up for everybody so they can see that? Yeah.
There will be, like I said, we weren't expecting it to be this popular, and there will be a second edition coming out. There will be a little more tight, I guess, and some changes in it. But if you want the quintessential mess that I am, this is it.
Yeah, I still recommend it. And hopefully in the second edition, my forward will also be there too. I'm very excited about that.
Not in that. No.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, you get the next one.
Oh gosh.
The next one's going to be a little more wild.
Oh, so we'll look forward to that book as well. And then of course we have the Suizen Course.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then lastly our Jinashi Shakuhachi. All the links are in the description below. Jonan, thank you so much for hanging out with me again today.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care, everybody. Like, subscribe,
Bye-bye.
share, all the good stuff. Take care.